Springtime, everybody. Yay! It's your girl Abena with what edition is this? I think it's the 6th edition of the 2nd season of the Liberated Pussy podcast. Welcome, 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 welcome. You know we've been doing this for a while. My sister Monique Ruffin and we come to you and we have highly imaginative and highly powerful and highly magical conversations from the melanated woman's perspective. And we really talk about everything. So today we're going to be talking about new starts and springtime and how you can utilize this for your benefit. So I'm going to welcome Monique into the room with me. Welcome. Oh, there she is. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we go. And we do our magic. Bring Momo on into the room. Come on, Momo. Come on. Yes. Yes, yes, and yes. Come on in. Come on in, IG. Come on in. Yes, abracadabra. We're holding the intention for her to be here with us now as I click and allow. Click and allow. Abracadabra. Come on, Mo. Come on, Mo. Come on. I know you're there. I see you. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. So it's springtime, and my nasal is doing a little spring clearing already. So you may hear that I sound a little different. So I have my tea, which is really just lemon, honey water, and cayenne pepper. I'll be sipping on that today. Now it says you're unable to join. We know that's not true because we've done this many times before. So come on in. Come on in. Come on in. IG worked with us today.
Hey.
Hey. Oh, Mo, I can't see you.
Oh, you can't see me? Hilarious,
I can't
girl.
see you. I just see me.
Oh, well, you're beautiful. I see us both.
Okay.
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 How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Good. Good.
I'm sipping my tea. Let's introduce ourselves. Let's just jump right into it.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. All right, everybody. So we are here together. I am Adina Gittens-Smith, the goddess of magical movement. And what does that mean? That means a lot. That means movement is one of my main magics.
Mm-hmm.
One of the main ways that I understand the world is how I move my body. So even as you see me on this podcast, I'm very expressive. I'm using my hands, I'm moving around, I'm expressive. So I use my body in this plane. I use my body.
Mm-hmm.
So I am the co-founder of Belly Dancers of Color Collective. We have belly dance classes in the Washington, D.C. area every week, and we're also online, so that's available to you. And belly dance is African dance. I know people might not know that because of stories that are told, but this is African dance, y'all. So this is the way you can connect with us in the here and now and the real. Also, I do this Liberated Pussy podcast with Monique. We've been doing this. We're in our 2nd year, our 2nd season. Hey. Hey, yes, which is a beautiful manifestation of things we've talked about. These amazing conversations that we know need to be heard, need to be had, and need to be expanded. So we do that. In addition to that, we do Goddess Technology together. Goddess Technology is how would I say? It's an initiation. It's an initiation of understanding yourself as God, goddess here on the planet, understanding yourself as actual magic. And we have to initiate ourselves into this practice because we've been initiated into really the opposite of that. And we don't, if you just bop along in the matrix, you really won't know what you are. You really won't know what your capacity is. So through Goddess Technology and through Goddess Gathering, we, along with groups of women all over the world, are coming to know our magic and coming to know how we can actualize it in the here, in the now. We're taking a group of ladies to Bali in July to do it in person.
Yeah.
And we work with women every week, every Thursday we gather. So whether you're coming to Bali or not, you can work with us every Thursday in Goddess Gathering. That is a virtual community where sisters come together in this work of opening ourselves up into making this lifetime the most magical and amazing and manifesting abundance that it can be. So that's me. Mo is my sister. Yeah, she is my sister. And I love being here with you. So Ashe.
Ashe. Ashe. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yay, Adina. It's so interesting. So I am Monique Ruffin, also known as the Moon Mama. I am an astrologer and a life coach, and I support women in remembering who they are, like through understanding the codes, the families that they come from, um, to really get back into their lives and their bodies in ways that have them be true to who they are for the purpose of serving themselves, their family, their community, and the divine, the mother of the mother of the mother of the mother.
Ashe.
I am deeply devoted to the healing and the transformation of women. And there's nothing else I can do, and that's what I'm here for. That's what I'm born to do. And so I have a community called Follow the Sun, where I work with Adina there, teaching Goddess Gathering, with Gabrielle, doing 13 Moons, and many other women. Like, really, women are in this work of transforming and healing themselves. And that is a beautiful experience. I also um, am teaching, going to Bali with Adina, and we do this podcast. And, so this is my life. This is all that I do. I don't do anything else. And it's a really exciting experience. So thank you. Thank you for
Ashe.
being here. All right.
It is exciting. It is exciting when you come to realize that things that were taught to you as make believe are actually real.
Yeah,
That's exciting.
that
It's
is.
exciting to know that the magic you were looking for, you're actually sitting on, is actually already in your hands. That's
Mhm,
exciting. It's
mhm.
like The Wiz, like me
Yes,
and Monique talk
yes,
about The Wiz, how we love that movie, and they go through this fantastical journey to get to the point where it was always inside of me.
yes,
I always had it. And she
yes,
had to click
yes,
her heels 3 times, and we don't necessarily have to do that. But there are some things that we do have to do
yes,
to shed the matrix and to shed the conditioning and to shed the mind that tells us that you can't. So you can
yes.
call it clicking your heels 3 times, or you can call it getting into Goddess Gathering, getting into a circle of your sisters to
Hmm.
become your greatest self today.
Yes,
Today.
yes. It's a
Yeah.
profound journey. It is a profound journey. And I will say, the reason that I started to do it is because I never felt like myself. I always felt like something was missing or something was wrong, or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I was out of place, or like there was just like I couldn't find myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I really thought that the way to find myself was through spirituality. And so
Mm-hmm.
that became a very significant practice in my life. But I didn't find myself there either. You know what I
But
mean?
was it spirituality as religion, or was it
Right.
spirituality as, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Mhm,
it's been this profound experience of using the tools that the world
mhm,
gives to realize that, oh, the answers are truly inside of yourself. And
mhm,
sometimes those tools help, but those tools help you get to yourself. But when I got astrology, I was just like, wow, now I get to really see who I am, and I see how lost I am.
mhm.
You
Wow.
know, I like that
Wow.
ring you're wearing, by
Oh,
the way.
thank you. It's copper.
It's pretty.
Thank you. I got it from a goddess here in the DC area, and she does a lot. I have some earrings from her too. Really, I can put her link in the
Hmm.
chat. Really creative copper pieces, because copper is a conduit of electricity and energy and
Yes,
all kind
yes,
of powerful stuff, and it's an Oshun metal.
yes,
So
absolutely.
we
I
talk
did
about
that.
this stuff in
Yes,
Goddess
yes,
Gathering, how you can use the tools here on the earth to amplify your
yes,
energy. So yes, yes,
that's
and yes,
right.
thank you. Mhm.
Um, so today we wanted to talk about how we can use the tools to amplify our energy and how the seasonal changes are a part of that.
Right. But back it up, back it up,
Yeah,
back it up,
yeah.
back it up, back it up.
What?
So yesterday at 11:06, I believe, East Coast time. What time was it? Pacific time for the Spring Equinox, because that's why I'm wearing my flowers on my head
Oh yes,
today.
yes, yes.
We're
It
officially in
was
spring.
it was 803 or something like that, or
Yeah.
806. Yes, absolutely.
So we have just come through a seasonal shift, or we're in the midst of a seasonal shift. So if you think of the
Yes,
next 3 days, so now through like today, all of today, and then tomorrow, you're in this energy of the
yes,
shifting. And it's a very
yes,
powerful portal if you know how to use it, or you can just bop along like it's nothing. But it really is something. So
right.
since something is happening, we want to talk about how to use it to your advantage.
Yes.
So can you talk about what's happening astrologically right now?
Yeah. So the sun has moved into Aries, and Aries is the beginning of spring. Um, it's the spring equinox, and so, gosh, there's no sun here though right now. It's very cloudy.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, and so when the sun crosses into spring, this is, we see it happening. We see the flowers shifting. We see it's a new life. It's a new beginning. Um, it's that it's the light is being reborn again. Like this is really the new year. This is really the birth of what they would call Christ. This is really the Christ energy, the light coming back.
Hmm.
And so that is the spring equinox. And so the sun has moved into Aries. The moon is currently in Leo, and with the moon in Leo, it really is this Christed energy because Aries is, um, like, oh gosh, like Aries is the one, the I am presence. And then, um, and then Leo is the child, the birth
Hmm.
of the child, right? And so we have that I am presence being born in us, and we have that child energy being rising again inside of us. Like we get to start over. It's just a powerful, it's a renewal, and it's so powerful. And when we honor that, we get to have a true experience of it.
I love this time of year. Winter is really can't, well, I'm gonna say it this way. Winter's not my jam. Winter, cold winter. I was born in Chicago, and that cold, and I lived there the first 8 years of my life. And when that cold hits your neck, I literally was cold all day. Like once my neck gets cold, then I'm cold. And that's
Yeah.
what happened to me a couple days ago. Like the cold hit my neck, and I was like, "Ooh!" It took me back to Chicago. Here in the D.C.
Yeah.
area, it was 80 last week, and then it went to 40, like in like 12 hours. It's like boom,
Mhm.
boom. So I love it though that the trees on my street are starting to bloom. The daffodils are poking up. I
Mhm.
absolutely love that we get to start again every year, and really every moon cycle. They're all kind of cycles, but this
Yes,
is the
yes,
annual cycle of
yes.
rebirth and renewal. So I am really grateful for what's coming. Hmm.
That is so great. I can
Hmm.
see it in you. You got your
Hmm.
the flower crown on. Yeah,
Yeah.
and when we, I feel like it has taken me many years to study and understand what's really happening
Hmm.
that allows me um, uh, to really experience the nature of it, and to know that I'm one with nature, that oh, so the earth is having spring, or this hemisphere, because the whole earth isn't having spring. You know what I'm
True.
saying?
Yeah.
Just this hemisphere, right? And so
Right.
so I am a part of that. And how do I bring forth new life in my reality? What's new about me? What's new for me? And so I always practice rituals at this time of year that are about me becoming, you know, more connected to my own identity, like who I really am, is what I
Hmm.
want to say, right? And that's a process. Like sometimes we think we know who we are, right? And I have been around the sun 55 times, and I'm really, really this year getting to know who I am.
Double nickels, baby. Double nickels. She finally all the way grown. She grown, y'all. Yes. Gotta
It
put it up
is
for the double
really,
nickel.
and in our culture, we trying to count people out, and it's just a
Hmm.
fascinating thing. It's like I see the dichotomy. I'm like, wow.
Mhm.
I'm just knowing something, and they're
Right.
trying to be like, you. I'm like, wow, this is such a fascinating experience.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing: how much I thought I knew at
Mhm.
25.
Right. Right. I mean, you're really just a baby. You think in the Egyptian mystery schools, they studied for 40 years before they were even let out to, okay, now you know a little bit of something, you know? Whereas we
Right.
study for 12 years, high school and, that kind of thing. And really, what of those 12 years educated you about yourself or connected you with nature, really? Unless you studied biology and had a outdoor curriculum, you just studied really basic stuff,
Right.
basic stuff. Mhm.
Yes. Absolutely. It's a very interesting experience
Mhm.
to realize that, oh, we spent all this time studying these things that don't really mean anything to my
Right.
well-being or to understanding myself or understanding my place here in this reality or any of that. Like it's all this other agenda.
Mhm.
But at the spiritual level, it all serves. It all serves
Mhm.
because when you know that contrast, when you come to that experience of realizing what's real in
Mhm.
comparison to what is not. There is something so compelling in that experience. You know what I'm talking about?
I do. I do. Like what's really real, like when you say what's real to me, what I think about is like universal laws,
Yeah,
things that are true for everybody. Because people have their own truth when they get into that's wrong or it's reality,
yeah,
that kind of stuff, like that reality. I'm talking about reality, but what's real reality? What is that? If you know
yeah,
that life is but a dream, really. Like this
yes,
matrix, some people say we're in the dream now and life happens after quote unquote death.
yeah,
That's a whole nother conversation.
yeah,
But
it,
we wanted to anchor our conversation about honoring the season and how we do that. What are some ways that we could really be in tune with the cycle and understanding our power and that we literally are nature. And
yeah,
that's what we're saying. School didn't teach us that we were nature. It was like there's nature, there's math, there's reading. School was really about following the rules, is what I have come to know. They
yes,
wanted to make you uh, a good rule follower because then they know that you'll follow them for the rest of your life and you'll be a good tool, a good minion for the
yes,
status quo.
yes. Yeah, it's been interesting, but so in my honoring of spring, for instance, one of the things that I do is fast.
Mm-hmm.
And um And that can look many different ways. When I was young, I would fast. I used to do the master cleanse, and I would
Mm-hmm.
fast for 10 or 12 days with my auntie
Mm-hmm.
and pray because I used to be a Christian. But I would still honor spring in that way because Easter is coming, right?
Right,
So
right.
there is that holiday aligned with it. So fasting is one thing that I do. I also practice meditation,
Mm-hmm.
um, a lot of visioning, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
using my imagination in springtime because I know more light is coming. And so if
Mm-hmm.
I can begin to imagine what it is I really desire and imagine myself into my true identity, like what does it feel like to be a woman who is traveling the world with many women around the world, waking up to our magic? What does it feel like to be standing on beaches with hundreds of women dressed in white,
Mm-hmm.
singing, sing to Yemaya, to the moon, and, learning to heal our bodies? What does it feel like to be like? So, really, I spend time in spring doing a lot of that kind of work because that is the activation of the feminine coming alive.
Mm-hmm.
That's magic.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? That's an
yeah.
aspect of magic. And so, and we weren't taught to function that way as children.
Mm-hmm.
We were taught to read. We were taught to you got to work hard. You got to work. We weren't
Mm-hmm.
taught to go sit and dream and
Mm-hmm.
feel it and dance about it and
Yeah,
sing about it. And we weren't taught to be playful in it. We weren't taught that your imagination is the key,
yeah.
So,
If you were spending time, because I know I'm a big daydreamer, I could get lost in my imagination. I say lost because I could spend hours there. And then I'm like, oh gosh, 4 hours just passed by.
Mhm.
If you do that, like in school and things like that, you get the marks on your report card, like not paying attention, is not present, that kind of thing. And
Yeah.
so you got really penalized for
Yes.
spending time inside your mind. We were cultivated to come out, like come out of there, come
Yes.
out,
That's
be present
right.
with me right here, right now.
Yes. That's
But the
right.
magical place in your mind, I know Stevie Wonder sings a song. It's probably on the B side of one of them
Mhm.
albums, but I'm a deep Stevie fan, so I know it. But he says, I want to treat myself to all the wonderful places in my mind. I could easily go there as a child. And when I'm in meditation or just kind of having time to move as I desire, not
Mhm.
not by the regimen of time, then I'm
Yes.
there. I'm
Yes.
there in I'm literally zoned out. I'm
Yes.
zoned out.
Yes.
So I know, but I felt guilty about being zoned out because of the training. The training said be here and be present, but I wasn't present. Where was I? I had to even
Right.
ask myself, where were you? It's like I was on that beach with you and you're my
Yeah.
yacht. I was
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
flowers. I was petting a kitty cat. I was any place that felt good. It felt good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And it's important to do the take to create practices that allow you to feel good, because the feeling
Right.
good is what draws in and magnetizes what it is, because we are magnets, y'all.
Yes.
Like, that's the thing. As
Hmm.
women, we are magnets. And so if we don't understand how we function, and a part of that is understanding your relationship to nature.
Yeah.
So you know when to go, and you
Yeah.
know when to stop, and when is the harvest, and when is, like, you need to know these things because
Mhm.
you're a part of these
You
things.
you are part of it. It's really fantastical to think of what was done. And like you said, it's all done for
Mhm.
us. So
Mhm.
we've gotten so asleep as a society that as the wake up is coming and as we're coming out of the darkness into light, it's going to be fantastical because
Yes.
we know where we've been in terms of the doldrums of it all. But
Yes.
where we're going, oh my God, like I can imagine all of these wonderful things coming because it's the opposite of where we've been.
Yes.
So for you talked about fasting. I also have fasted.
Mhm.
Fasting. I first fasted with Master Cleanse as well. And that's a great one to start with
Mhm.
for folks and of course, you got to do what works for you.
Yeah.
Some folks, we're in Ramadan now, so there are people who are doing that sun up to sundown fasting. I've also fasted where I'm just fasting on fruit or I'm just
Yeah.
fasting on vegetables. Like I'll decide how I'm going to fast and the length of time I'm going to fast. Generally, now I fast one day a week and I fast for 3 days at seasonal changes. So right now we're at a seasonal change and I'm in my fasting period for the seasonal change. That tells my body to shift, and it also helps me to get out of a lot of, if I've been in a cycle of eating or drinking, and it's like a reset for my body.
Yes. That's
Allows me to
right.
reset. So you hear my sinuses cleansing now, and my
Yes.
body's like, yeah, it's time to release. It's time to cleanse. And so that's what it is. So I'm cleaning my internal house, and then I start to clean my physical house. So I
Yeah.
want to purge things. I want to declutter. I want to shift things around. I want to freshen up. I want to do those baseboards and get behind the couch and that kind of
Mhm.
thing. I want to. Don't say I always get to, but that's my
Right.
desire, is
Right.
to
Right.
do these
Right.
things. Yeah. Time in nature too is really important. I did
Mhm.
get to go and do my meditation outside yesterday, although it was very cold and I had on a coat and it was zipped up to my neck. I did sit on the ground and do my meditation and just, what I felt the ground say when I sat on it, the ground was like, hi, welcome back, that kind of thing. It's like, yeah, thank you. Like once
Yes.
this weather lifts up a
Yes.
bit, I'll be back all the time. This
Right.
is my desire to be with you all the time.
Yes.
So it was like plugging in. I felt like I was plugged into a socket. I literally plugged the roots of me into Grandfather Geb, the earth, and
Yes.
I felt the earth saying, welcome back.
That's amazing. That's
Hmm.
amazing. Yes, being out in nature is so important. I get such an understanding of what's real when I'm out in nature. And I go hiking a
Hmm.
lot here in Los Angeles.
Hmm.
And sometimes I go to the forest where all I can see is pine trees for as long as my eye can see.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
all there is pine trees for as far as I can see. And then I begin to walk through those pine trees and realize that every single one of them is different.
That's awesome.
Like, Every single pine tree is different, and
Mhm.
yet they are separate and one. And the law of oneness just shows up in nature in these remarkable ways. And I go and I take crystals and I go and talk to the trees and I go and pray and do work with my ancestors and remember the lifetimes that I spent as trees because I have been a tree. So I think my last lifetime I was a tree before this one. Because the trees I just get it. I just am like,
Mhm.
yes, like I'm like, I hear you.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, stop screaming at me.
Mhm.
That's how I feel about trees. Like,
Mhm.
like, and so nature is that for me, and the ocean is that for me as well.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
because here's what nature gives me, it gives me the vibration of, do you have sometimes like where your inner ear will beat? Do you ever feel the vibration of the earth in your body
Like a
somewhere?
buzz sometimes, and
Yes,
sometimes a ring. It's like
yes,
a, and I'm like, is it something on? And I was like, no, it's close. I literally look like,
yes,
what's that? It's usually
yes,
my right ear that I get it in. Do
yes.
you have a particular ear that you feel it in?
Um, I used to get it in my right more, but I get it in both
Okay.
now. But I know it's a frequency. It's like, oh, I've
Yeah.
caught the frequency. And
Mhm.
um and that frequency always exists in nature for me, but I'm not always connected to it.
Right.
I'm not always aware of it. And
It's like turning to
and
the radio channel. Remember, we used to
yes,
have those dials like that,
yes,
and
yes, yes,
you
yes.
in between, or when you
That's right.
finally get the station, it's like, oh,
And
okay, I
why
hear you.
I need it
Mhm.
is because in this world, there's a completely different frequency. There's
Right.
a different sort of narrative. There's a different energy that people are running on that's like, I gotta get and competition and scarcity and
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
nature is not on that
Mhm.
frequency.
Mhm.
Nature is on the frequency of wholeness.
Yeah,
Nature is on the frequency of all my needs are met. You know what I mean? Nature's
abundance,
like I'm dying and then I'm coming back to
and I'm
life.
renewing.
And when it's dying,
Yeah,
it's like we gonna do death right.
right.
We gonna die. You know what I mean? But when it's
Hmm.
coming back to life, it's like titties everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yay, titties! Yay,
Right.
titties!
And so that's why it's important for me to go into nature so that
Mhm.
I can be able to differentiate the language of
Yes.
what people are speaking and what is real.
Hmm.
Because in my work as a reader, as a coach, it's imperative that I am able to give people a sense of direction from a perspective of what's real. You know
Right,
what I mean? Like, I see
right.
you're doing this over here. Like, I had a client yesterday. It was such a trip. I had a client yesterday. I'm sorry, enough time. I had a client yesterday who kept talking about how tired she was. She was like, I'm
Hmm.
tired, tired, I'm tired. Like, I mean, for an hour, I'm
Hmm.
tired, I'm tired. And I was like, so I started asking her questions. And what I realized is that the way her marriage was constructed was making her tired.
Mm.
But because she has no real relationship to nature,
Hmm.
the real rhythms, she's just like giving and giving and giving and not realizing she's not resting. She's not doing
And not
any, like
realizing
she's
she's
just,
the power source too.
that's
Everything is
right.
plugged into you as the
That's
feminine.
right.
We are the
That's
battery.
right. That's
And if you
right.
just give and give and give, it's like your phone. If you never plug in, then yeah, you're going to be on E, or you're going to have one bar
Yes.
left. You got to
Yes.
stop and replenish. You have to.
Yes. You
Or
have
run
to.
it out. And then what presents are dis-eases in the body, whereas the
Yes.
body is yelling and screaming for support. You
Yes.
know?
It's
So
amazing.
resets,
Yeah.
these resets and consciously using the resets
Mhm.
give you an opportunity to fill your battery, give you opportunity to fill
Yes.
your cup, give you
That's right.
opportunities to
To,
renew,
re-
which is what this is
to
about.
renew and restore yourself, really.
Yeah.
And it's so necessary.
Mhm.
And I feel like as I mature, the longer I spend here on the planet, I realize like, I'm giving away energy or
Mhm.
I'm getting energy or this doesn't feel right. Like
Mhm.
I start to really pay attention because when I when I reset and I hit my my neutral, my natural neutral, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Then I'm like, okay, this is me. And then
Right.
it gets depleted and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's a real thing.
Yeah. You know what? My youngest son said something to me
Hmm.
that I thought was very interesting. It connects to nature too. The babies, he's not a baby, he's 22, but he might have said this 2 years ago. He was like, why is it that humans are the only ones on the earth who have devised a system where we have to pay to live? Like the animals don't do that. Like the payment that they do is natural. Like they will, it's in cycle with nature, but
Right.
ours is what depletes us. I was like, wow, that's a really interesting way to look at it. He's like, but
Yeah,
we did this. You're right. We did.
that's
But
right.
like we did it, we can create something else.
That's
But
right.
what else is it that you want to create? It's important to take time to
Hmm.
relax and get in tune to the right
Yes.
frequency so that you even know that it's
Yeah.
possible. You know, you even
Yes.
have the ability to think of what else different you want or what else different you could create. Like people, when I talk my dreamy talk to folks, they're like, well, that'll never happen. You know, we'll never see it in our lifetime or in a billion years, you'll never see it. I'm like, you don't know what we'll see. Or maybe you won't see it. You know, maybe you won't because you're not tuning to
Yes.
see it. But those of us who know
Yes.
that there's many frequencies and many lifetimes, we're going to get to the lifetime where it is possible, where it's
That,
happening. It's
that's
happening.
right.
So many things have changed in my life that initially I wouldn't have thought. You know, I wouldn't have gave myself even the freedom to think it. But
Yes.
now I allow myself to think the quote unquote ridiculous because it's in my reach. It's right
Yes.
there. And if
That's
it's
right.
ridiculous to my logical mind,
That's
so then I know that, and
right.
if it's something I really
Woo.
want, then I just keep reaching and I keep opening my heart for it.
That's right.
So, you know, you'll see it. You'll see
It
it.
is, and that is the point. That's the point of the age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
For us to realize that reality is changing and reality does change and can change. We just haven't lived through it, but we're living through it now. We're living through
Right.
a shift where humans are changing, our
Mhm.
consciousness is shifting, and we are creators. We were always creators. Our energy was just tied up in things that had us creating the reality we were
Right.
in. A nine to
Right.
five, go to the
And creating
doctor to get
against ourselves.
right.
Nobody wants that. Too many people hate the jobs that they're in. Too many.
Yeah.
So when you're using your energy, say you spend 40 hours a week, however many, and then you have however many hours that you sleep, you're spending a specific amount of your waking time doing something that you don't like.
Yeah.
Again, that's creating disease in your body, in your spirit, in
Yeah.
your soul.
Yes.
So that those kinds of things are the things that we have to find alignment with. And I know we all want to live and have quote unquote our bills paid and have a roof over our
Right.
head and dress pretty and go on trips and all
Yes.
that. We want that. But all I'm saying is think about it. Think about it so you can start to shift it. It
Yeah.
has to start somewhere. Hmm.
That's right. And it starts where you are right here, right now. It
Right
really
now.
does.
And this is a
And
good time to do it. It's
that's right.
renewal
And
time.
we think that what happens is we're conditioned to think, oh, I need this. I need that. No, all you really need. Adina and I are here. We're here. We're proof to tell you.
Hmm.
All you need to do is get curious about who you really are and
Hmm.
what you really want and what really feels true to you.
Hmm.
That's it. Like you don't have to move mountains to have the
Nope.
life that you want.
No, you
You have to
don't.
begin to recognize yourself as important and begin to prize your needs. Small
Right.
ones. Small ones.
Worthy. When I hear you say
Yeah.
important too,
Mhm.
it's a piece of knowing that your worth is immutable, it's unchangeable. And for
Yeah.
you to not think you're worthy is really an abomination to the Almighty Creator.
Yeah.
Like those who say they're so religious and still call themselves a filthy rag. And that never makes sense to me. Like in
Right.
church, when they say we are filthy rags, I'm like, no, I'm not. Like that never resonates.
Yeah.
If we're children of God, how could we be filthy rags? It don't even make sense. If we
That's it.
are God, right, it
That's
doesn't
right.
make sense. But that comes from
Right.
the matrix again,
Right.
trying to keep you in a certain position. So if you know that your worth is unchangeable, and if
Yeah.
you are calling yourself anything other than God or Goddess, then you are talking against whatever religion it is that you say that you're down with, because you are a manifestation of that creation. You are.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
what are you going to be? God can't, if you're a piece of God and God created you, then you are God. Like we say, mother, father, God, then the child is God too. If the mother and the father are God, then the child is God.
Yeah.
Mother, father, child, God.
Right.
So that even resonates
Mhm.
into a respect for our children,
Yes,
understanding that
that's
they
right.
come through us, but
Yes.
they are God, goddess too.
Yes, they are. Mm.
So I had to sit with that. Mother, father, child, God. We are all God.
Mm-hmm.
And not to get weird about that, just understand that's just a fact.
Yeah.
Now, one of my springtime rituals is planting. I love to plant seeds. What I'm doing this year is I'm planting my seeds inside before I transfer them outside. I have some compostable pots. I'm
Mm-hmm.
writing, I'm writing on my pot what I'm growing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So does that make sense? Like I'll
Yeah.
have my pot, I might do a video
Yes.
about it. But just taking a ritual a little further. So that as I'm planting and I'm growing and I'm nurturing, that's what I'm nurturing in the
Yeah.
seed. This aspect of myself, this aspect of my life, this aspect of my abundance, whatever it is, that's what I'm growing.
Yes.
And yeah, so planting is a jam. Gardening is a jam.
Yes, it is. It's real.
Hmm.
Wow, that's so beautiful. It's the work that we do is so profound because I didn't understand the level of programming that has gone into keeping us very disconnected from who we are, which keeps us disconnected from our magic. I was just watching a video of a gentleman, a brother, talking about how the feminine creates the masculine, how the feminine is God. And he was talking to another woman, trying to get her to see it. And he was like, don't you don't need to believe what you're experiencing. Everywhere you look, you see women giving birth to humans. You see it all the time. So why do you need to believe that a woman came from a man's rib? Why would you believe something that you don't know in your experience? But the thing that I loved about it was that I was able to remember how I was told these fairy tale things as a child and how that hijacked my imagination,
Mm,
right? Like
hmm.
these things, and they got seated in your consciousness. And I
Right.
remember the day I heard myself say, you still believe a woman came from a man's rib. I heard myself say it, like literally, and I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, wow, they told me that. I believe that. The
Hmm.
Bible
Hmm.
says that.
Hmm.
But I have never seen that in my life. Why would and it took me out of my power. What it did, the belief system made me like put men as God. It
Right.
made me really idealize
The
them.
masculine.
It made me, yes,
Yeah.
in this way that made me lesser though. You know what I'm saying? It
So
wasn't,
listen, that
yeah.
don't make sense. So like the only thing I seen with ribs is like barbecue sauce. Like what is coming? Like like on. It doesn't make sense. Like if you really think about it,
So did
where
you
have you
ever
ever
believe
seen?
it? When you heard it, did you ever believe it?
I just took it. I used to ask a lot of questions. I was that kid
Hmm.
who asked a lot of questions, like you. And I would ask questions because actually went to Catholic school when we were in Chicago.
Hmm.
You couldn't ask questions there. It wasn't welcomed. And
Yes.
I would go home because they were like, listen, that's just how it is. Don't ask me no questions. And I'm like, I would ask my mom, like, why can't we ask questions? Well, I mean, it doesn't make, like, if
Yeah.
it should, God, I think God would be able to stand up to questions from a 6-year-old. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. And she said, I am just like you because as a little child, they shut me down too with the questions. And my mother said, I don't know, you know? And then it was just taken back to faith. Just have
Yeah.
faith. Well, what am I
Yes.
having faith in? Just have faith. That was the answer to my questions. And I do appreciate faith as a concept because there
Yes.
are some things that you need to be faithful in,
Hmm.
but things that don't really resonate. Because I feel like God should be able to stand up to questioning. When you question, it should reaffirm what you're
Yes.
feeling or disfirm that.
Yes.
Like either way, it shouldn't be a thing where you just don't
Yes.
ask. Just don't. So I
Yes.
appreciated my mother for saying, I don't know. And I was shut down too. So that told me there as a little child that to stay open about it. You know,
Yeah.
I was in this situation. You know, you don't have to get yourself paddled or put in timeout, but just understand this is what they're doing here.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I felt about it. Okay,
Yeah.
this is the game that they're playing out here. So I'll just listen. I don't have to agree. Like I had a quiet compliance about it. I complied because I didn't want to get in trouble, but I
Yeah.
didn't necessarily agree. I was like, this sounds like some bull. You
Yeah.
know, I don't necessarily. And then everyone in my school, like the priests and the nuns, were all white,
Yeah.
and the teachers were black, and the kids were black. And that
Yeah.
felt weird too, because I didn't see white people anywhere else in my life in Chicago, just at school, the nuns and the priests and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now
So it was
that
very
is interesting.
dichotomous. Yeah.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
very fascinating.
Hmm.
That's an interesting creation you made.
It was. It really
It's
was.
and I just love that nature is the solution to all of these narratives that we've been given. Like nature proves it every time. I'm like, oh, if I want to find God, let me go look at the cycles.
Mm-hmm.
God's the creator's fingerprint is in the cycles.
Right.
Um, so anyway, I am inviting us into I feel like I'm having a little bit of an emergency. My cats, I need to get them.
Oh, no.
So,
Okay.
do you feel is there something that you
Well, I want
ah
to share a poem, but I don't want the cats to have
oh
an
that's
emergency.
right.
Please, rather.
Okay, so you want to share a poem. Okay, so I'm gonna take you outside with me. That's what I'm
Okay.
gonna do.
Take
Okay,
me
good. So
outside.
go ahead, and then I'm listening to you, and because I really want to hear your poem, but I need to make myself comfortable
Okay. Make
so that I understand that my
yourself
cats are
comfortable.
not. Okay, got it.
Okay. So this is a poem written by one of my greatest teachers. Her name is Mama Abena Walker. She
Yeah.
recently transitioned, and I went to her services this past Saturday. And it just really reignited my awareness of some of the great work she did. She was a poet. She was a teacher of African-centered education. My studying with her really deepened me in understanding myself as an African woman, which went deeper than the dashiki. It went into lifestyle and understanding who I was and how we treat each other and humane relating with each other. So one of the and even I bloomed as a poet too. So this was one of the poems that everybody loved, and I wanted to read it. It's called "Come Out, Black Girl." Come out, Black girl. Come out of the shadows of self-hate and find something to like about yourself. It's a monumental task for a queen historically labeled as wench, whore, hoe, hussy, slut, squeeze, piece, meat, beef, bitch, buried from the weight of being called out of your name. Bad girl if you gave in too soon for mama and friends, and a jive girl if you gave in too late for the brother you thought you loved. A menace to society if you populate the Black nation, instinctively waging war on genocide. Maligned as you go about surviving, expected to have no pride. Come out, Black girl. Come out of the shadows of worthlessness and find something to love about yourself. A monumental task for a ray of God's life, born and dropped into a mud hole, created by a nation of gray swine that slings dirt into the eyes of your beholders, smearing your image, declaring that there is no beauty to be achieved, psyching you into frenzied efforts to make yourself acceptable. Come out, Black girl. Come out of the shadows of self persecution because of all of the individual and collective lies are embedded with insecurities and shortcomings created by a white measuring stick that always seems to make you too tall, too short, too heavy, too thin, too narrow, too round, too brown, too be. Cast off their plastic covergirl smiles and silicone bodies and minds. They judging your worth by your crown that they call naps. 'Cause sisters, no matter whether you rub it, scrub it, press it, caress it, wave it, shave it, whirl it, jerry curl it, wig it, weave it, tease it, relax it, or put it to sleep, they still gonna say you need to fix it every 2 weeks. You don't need ain't fixing, black girl. Ain't nothing broke about you but your spirit that's fighting, fighting, fighting to stand you up tall so that you can see your beauty reflected in all that you touch, in all that you are, in all that you have always been. Come out, come out, come out, black girl, for you truly are a majestic African woman. Ashe.
Ashe.
Ashe. To the
Ashe.
great ancestor, Mama Abena Walker. She wrote this poem in 1979. This is her
Wow.
book called Word Magic. And like I said, she was a great, beautiful teacher to me. You can find her on, what is that, YouTube and things like that. But she's an ancestor. She's available to us all. Come out, black girl. Come out. Come out. Come out.
Awesome.
Come out. Yes, I love
Yay.
her. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for allowing
Thank you for
me to
that.
share.
Thank you for
Yes.
sharing that. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's powerful. All right,
All right.
y'all.
All right. All right,
Happy
Lisa.
spring equinox. Like that was that enough was said. Like that was
Mm-hmm.
everything. Thank
Mm-hmm.
you. We meet tomorrow for Goddess Gathering at
Two.
5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and
8
we would
p.m.
love for you to join us.
Eastern Standard Time.
That's right. We would love for you to join us,
Mm-hmm.
and where we are doing the work to help us all wake up and come home to ourselves and
Come out.
remember who
To
we
come
are to
out.
come on out. That's right. That's right.
Links
All
are in
right,
our
darling.
bios. Monique's bio, my bio. If you're
Yeah.
interested in joining us and doing this work and coming out, it's
Yeah.
springtime. We
Yeah.
outside, y'all.
That's
We
right.
outside.
That's right. All right,
Come out, black
darling. I
girl.
love
Okay,
you.
love you. All
All
right.
righty.
Bye-bye.